Mark Snyder said that that the defense was tired against Pitt because of playing so many games. And the layoff had the too many games in too few time span had hurt the team. And now today, Todd Fitch tells us that the offense was hurt by the layover. So it's like either side of the ball can use the other, whatever happens, as an excuse for.
Well, you could use a short week, you could use a long week, you could use an open day, you could use it however you want. I think in referring to what the two coaches are saying, I think defensively we might have been a little bit tired, and you kept looking at, you scratch your head at the Pitt game and say, what was it? Was it the emotion of what we went through emotionally from game 1 until game 5? At what point does that hit you? Is it that? It gave us an opportunity, the open date, to really simplify some things, to give the players an opportunity to go play without thinking as much, and I think they responded to that. Offense is about timing. Offense is about timing and rhythm, not necessarily tired, but sometimes when you give them a couple days off, it throws your timing and your rhythm off in the passing game. And that's where we really struggled the most in the first half, was in the passing game. We ran the ball pretty well in the first half, but we weren't able to put any drives together because it seemed like every time we dropped back to pass, it was incomplete. You're second and long or third and long or even having to punt the ball. But I don't look at the open date either way as saying that was the reason we lost either football game. I don't think the short week at Pittsburgh, and I don't think the long week at Connecticut is the cause of some of our woes. I think it's easy to look back and say maybe it was this or maybe it was that. But when you look at 4 turnovers and inside the 35-yard line 5 times and not able to put a point up, you're not going to win very many football games. That's reality.
Can this game be the happy medium then, that coming back home? That
we're excited to come home. You hope it was kind of like in that Connecticut game. It was kind of like in the Connecticut game. You kept waiting for that spark. You kept waiting because we were moving the ball. We just couldn't put drives together and drive the length of the field. And it seemed like every completion, it was like, all right, here we go. Got that first down. We got it rolling. Let's see what we can get going. It seemed like we kept going down there and stalling. And it's the same thing with this season. We go to Pitt. We lost. The team came back. I thought they played with more energy, passion, enthusiasm, heart, desire, all those intangible things you talk about. I thought they played with more of the intangibles, as many as intangibles as we had all year. I was really proud of the way the team responded back from a loss, and we probably had more people grade what we consider grading a winner in that game than we did as any win that we've had so far this year. We just made a couple key costly mistakes at key times that hurt us in that football game.
How will you handle letting Darryl Scott bounce back from his 2 fumbles?
Darryl will be back. I mean, Darryl will be back. He's certainly not in the doghouse. We don't have one of those. He's not in the doghouse. He's a very talented player. He played 50 plays in that football game, and 49 of them, 48 maybe, you give him, a double plus. He did a great job. Protected the ball, ran hard, ran physical. His understanding the blocking scheme's better and better. You're seeing progress. His pad level is much lower as he's hitting people and falling forward with all that weight and power that he carries with him. I think Darryl's playing well. We just have to understand how important it is. It's not like he's carrying the ball loose. And it's way far away from his body, and he doesn't care about ball security, but we've just got to continue to protect the ball. It's nice to have 2 guys like Demetrius Murray and Darryl Scott in your backfield, because you have 2 very talented, very capable football players that have both totally bought in, that are playing extremely hard. So we'll go back to this week of practice and continue to preach ball security with the running backs, and they will continue to both play.
Skip, I know 3rd down efficiency is an area that you'd like to see some improvement in. If you first could talk about maybe what you're seeing there and why you think you're having so much trouble, and then how critical it is that you guys start hitting at a better clip than what you are now.
Well, you look at us on the year, and the stats are misleading, because on the year it's not that bad, but there have been a couple key games where we have not been very good on 3rd down. The last two, and it's very hard the last 2 losses. And I believe this Saturday we were 25% on 3rd down. And you can't do that and expect to drive the field. You've got to score points 1 of 2 ways. You have to be real good on 3rd down and drive the ball, or you got to be able to throw it over the top, and you have to make a lot of big plays. We didn't have a lot of big plays in that game, and we weren't very good on 3rd down, hence the 10 points. Some of it's obviously the turnovers that stop drives, but on 3rd down, most of it was the passing game, and that's why I think you hear Coach Fitch say the passing game, the open date might have hurt us a little bit as a football team because of the timing of the passing game, but it seemed like we were just off. I mean, the ball was just a little bit low. We had talked in the press conference after the game. I know BJ had a hard time in the first half. You even noticed in the second quarter he wore a glove. He was having a hard time with the lack of moisture in the air, gripping the football. You don't have that problem down here when you have 70 and 80% humidity, but the ball was really slippery to him, and he was having a hard time gripping it. Even in the first quarter, he went to throw a quick ball, and the ball came out of the back. You know, it just kind of slipped out of his hand, and so he tried a glove. We tried to moisten his hand. We tried to do everything we could, but certainly not blaming that or using that as an excuse, but it seemed like everything was just low, just outside. It wasn't. He read well. He read the defense as well and went to the right guy. We just weren't able to convert. We weren't able to throw and catch. And that was the biggest problem in that game, especially on third down. And when you have that many penalties and you're that far behind the chains, you're gonna have to be able to throw the ball. You're not gonna run it for 20 yards and 3 downs every time.
You talked about the alternative, the third down, is going over defenses, and going into the year, you talked about how receiver was an improved position. Todd Fitch was just saying he thinks that they need to make a more concerted effort to go downfield, to throw vertically. Do you think that's something that's been missing from the offense in these games?
Well, the last two it certainly has, but especially in this game, they are Connecticut had come into the game and played a lot of man coverage. And for whatever reason, maybe it was because of some of the big runs we had, the running quarterback we had, whatever the reason, they played much more zone, keep the ball in front of you and make them throw it and catch it. We weren't able to do that. So sitting back and just throwing it deep when they're defending the deep ball doesn't make a lot of sense. But like I said, you have one of two options if you're trying to score points. You either have to get the ball down the field and find a way to make big plays, or you have to be able to get better on third down and move the chains and keep going forward to get into the scoring zone. And when you get down there, you have to be able to convert. To understand that throwing the ball away on third down is not a bad play, and let's kick them in the hole, let's punt them in the hole, or let's kick a field goal is not a bad offensive play when you get down in the scoring zone. So I think it certainly will help to get the ball down the field, but I think you have to take what a defense gives you. I also don't think just throwing it deep to a too deep safety look with everybody down the field doesn't help you either, because you're going to throw more interceptions.
Skip, with 2 straight Big East losses and a team coming in here that is capable of possibly getting the third, is this season already at a crossroads for USF?
We're at the halfway point, and we're 4-2. I mean, we've made a huge issue about the conference. I mean, that's where we need to go. That's where we want to go. Is this game big in the conference race? Yes, especially with what we've done to this point. Being 0-2, it's a very important game for us. I'm glad we have the opportunity to play at home, but I'm not looking at it as a crossroads, that this is a sink or swim game, and if you were to lose this game, the season's over. In the last 5 games, you're going to go through the motions and throw in the towel. This team will continue to compete. They will continue to fight, and they will continue to play. We have to take a 1-0 approach each and every week, and then when we come out of Cincinnati, we have to evaluate where we are and make the decision on how we get in, what we're going to do in the open date, and what we need to do to move forward. But I've said this almost every week, we're a work in progress. We're not there, we're a work in progress, and we have to continue to improve as we move forward.
Skip, Victor Marks seems to have stepped up and put himself into a position in this offense to be a solid contributor on a consistent basis. Can you talk to maybe what he did over the spring, in the offseason, and then in fall camp to sort of put himself into this position?
I think there are so many players that are maturing in the program, and Victor is certainly one of the ones that leads that charge as a guy that is ready to take on more responsibility and an every down player, where he was kind of a quarterback, then we moved him to wide receiver. He's been learning how to play wide receiver. He's really fitting in out there. I think he's made great strides. We've talked about the growth of B.J. Daniels in the offense. You look at the growth of Ryan Giddens, we can almost watch him grow up as this year goes on each and every week as he continues to mature and grow. I think there are a lot of football players in that boat, and I think Victor is making himself a very valuable asset for this football team, because he's learning the receiver position. He's big, he's strong, he's athletic, he's a very good blocker. He's got a great understanding of the game of football. He understands the offense, and I think he's adding a whole other dimension, where we came into this season saying we have 3 H's in Joel Miller, Victor Mark, and Lindsey Lamar. And I think Victor has really started to emerge himself as an every down player. I also think Lindsey Lamar is growing up in this offense. as he is starting to get a better understanding. Also a guy that converted from running back to wide receiver as well. But really proud of Victor Mark, as I am all these guys that are coming to work every day. They've been in the weight room. They've paid a great price. They've made great sacrifices to be the type of players that they've become, and they deserve a lot of credit for the hard work they've put into it. Is that it? That gives everybody 10 minutes to get on that conference call today.